Hello and welcome to episode 4 of End Political Corruption. As you may notice, today I am not in front of my typical red, white, and blue background, and that's for two reasons. Number one, isn't this a nice wintry background? I mean, it's the start of winter. I feel that this is quite appropriate for the season. But the second and more real reason is that I decided to wear red, white, and blue today. Well, put a red, white, and blue person in front of a red, white, and blue background and you have a floating head, and I don't think anybody wants to see my floating head. So we have this background for today. Anyway, today I'm here to talk to you about something important. This is the top 6 things that everyone should know about political corruption, because there's still a lot of people who don't quite even know what political corruption is or does. So this is for all those people who still have questions about political corruption. These are the 6 things that are kind of need to knows, things that you really have to understand in order to get involved with ending political corruption. So I would share this with your friends who maybe have questions about what political corruption actually is. And we made it into a nice listicle video for you. So here we go. So the number one thing to know about political corruption, fashion is meaningless. Everyone has seen it. The polished politician sliding into the podium in their Armani suit, right? They look great, but now here's the catch to that Armani suit. Corruption isn't always some far-fetched, deep-seated misgiving. Sometimes it's shown by using the bells and whistles, like an Armani suit, to distract you from the point and the message and what they really stand for. So that politician in the Armani suit, I mean, come on, don't get fooled by appearances. And where did they get that Armani suit? That's my point. Number 2, in the political arena, bribery is as common as fake sugar is at Starbucks. You know what I'm saying? No, it isn't obvious. You won't see a lobbyist offer a few $1,000s to a politician, at least not at first, but they'll ease their way into it. It might start off with a dinner or a lunch, and that leads to discussion on what would it take to get Initiative A or Initiative B. The door's open, the deal is clear, and even though it's unspoken, it's there. So you need to know that, you know, they're not going to come out with a megaphone and say, hey, I'm taking a bribe for this, or hey, I'm doing A for B. It's a lot less obvious. Number 3, lobbyists get their in through sly movements. So you aren't going to find many lobbyists who take on the world and shout their plans, you know, on the top mountaintops. They're not really shouting this agenda and what they want so clearly. They're a little bit sneakier, you know. Rather, they know how to play their cards close to their chest. They're poker players. They get their ducks in order first and then lower the political boom. Political movement, including corruption, is all about timing and knowing when to act. It's a chess game to these people, and it's sad because it's our lives that they're playing chess with, you know. But to them, to these corrupt politicians, a lot of the time it really is about their own needs, their own selfish needs, and they kind of forget about the regular people. Number 4, lobbyists are not forgiving with those who oppose their stances. The lobbyist is as forgiving as an angry mama grizzly bear, okay? Unless something monumental in their life happens, think freezing winter to cool them down. They aren't going to budge on their ferociousness. It's that tenacity gets things done, you know? The squeaky wheel gets the attention. Ever hear that saying? I mean, they know no bounds, and they seem to have boundless energy. So these lobbyists, you know, they just care about their own interests, and they make the politicians care about their interests with their generous givings. Number 5. Now here's the kicker. Every country needs lobbyists. And who makes things happen? Well, it isn't what you think, actually. Political corruption has fueled and evolved America for decades. A new plan can hit Washington, and it may be fantastic. It makes sense on every level. But without the right lobbyists to stand behind it and do the legwork, it will never see the light of day. So the key to ending political corruption is not get rid of the lobbyists. It's get rid of the corruption. Make these lobbyists more accountable for their actions. Make these corrupt politicians more accountable for their actions. And finally, number 6, European countries have free or limitations on advertising for political campaigns. The US, on the other hand, as you know, does not. In the US, political campaigns are big business. I think that the past election cycle kind of proved that. They channel funds into building up their candidate and tearing down the opponent. I think that the last election cycle proved that. It's not right, but that's the reality of politics. And we can work on changing that as soon as we change political corruption. But political corruption, it comes in many forms, right? And often it's accepted as, well, that's the way it is. That's sad, you know. Whether or not it changes is to be seen, but we can work to make that change. In my previous videos, I've talked about different ways that we can work to end political corruption, and it's all on our website, endpoliticalcorruption.com. And we're working hard to put an end to this, because the answer should not be, that's the way it is. That's not how you deal with something. If you see somebody robbing somebody on the street, you don't just go, that's the way it is. And yet these politicians rob people every day. You know, there should be some serious dealings with these people. You know, as I said before, get law enforcement on them. Think about how you would act if you saw somebody being robbed on the street. The first thing you would do is call the cops. And yet we see a politician robbing their citizens. You do nothing. But they can be dealt with the same way that any other criminal could be dealt with, through our criminal justice system. And I know some people say, well, the criminal justice system is corrupt too. That is correct. But if we systematically go in and say that we will not tolerate this, we can begin to make changes. And, you know, talking for a few minutes on this is one thing, but if you go to our website, endpoliticalcorruption.com, check it out, sign our pledge, you'll actually see there are a lot of ways that you can get involved, and that if we all come together, if we get a big enough group with us, we can seriously make some changes and work to end political corruption once and for all. I'm Marissa Schwartz for End Political Corruption. Thanks for watching, and tune in 2 weeks when we have a brand new video for you. But in the meantime, keep checking out our social media and our website, because we have updates all the time and great discussions. On our Facebook, you guys have been awesome with those discussions. I've been enjoying reading all your comments. So keep commenting, keep getting involved, and let's work to end political corruption.